Hi, welcome to Dev Central. This is Jason Rom, and I'm here to talk about the URL. We get lots of questions about what the URL is, what the URI is, so thought I'd take a quick tour of the different components of the URL. This is a complete URL, and you see we have the protocol here, we have a host name, we have a path, we have a query, and let's take a look at these independently. The URL is the Uniform Resource Locator, and it consists of a protocol identifier and a resource name. And the resource name is everything to the right. If you scroll back here, to the right of the colon and the slashes. This is all the resource name, and here to the left is everything that is the protocol identifier. So this is the protocol identifier. In this instance, we're using the SSL or the HTTPS protocol. And you could just as well supply HTTP, FTP, SIP. I've used Telnet in that spot before. There's several other protocols that can use this format within the browser. And once you've identified your protocol, then you start with your host, and this can be an IP or host name. And in iRules, the data that's returned with the HTTP host command is a name or an IP address, and then also the port, but only if the port is non-default. So it will not be returned if it's port 80, but otherwise, or 443 for SSL. Otherwise, you'll get that information back. And then after the host name, you have the beginning of the URI, and the first part of the URI is the path. And notice that the initial slash here is not the initial slash right here is not part of the host. It's actually part of the URI. And if you do not supply a URI, the slash is implied, and so it will be the URI that's supplied is just that simple slice or that simple slash. And so the path is the section after the host but prior to the query, and you get access to that with the HTTP path command. And then you finish up the URL with the query, and that's question mark redirect JSP equal true in this case. The actual data that's returned is sans that question mark would be just the redirect JSP equal true. And then that's not an actual location, whereas the path is actually a location to a file. The query is just a string that's passed to an application, be it a CGI script or some other application that you have running on your site. And the command to access that's HTTP query. And then of course path and query together equal the URI, and so the data that would be returned in URI would actually be the full path, the question mark, and the query. If you were to access that, it's HTTP colon URI. So if you only need path information, you can use that command. If you only need query, you can use that information. If you really need all of it, you can use the HTTP URI command. And then a quick example iRule here. You have the setting the host, the URI, the path, and the query. And then I'm just simple HTTP respond to be able to dump that data to a browser for a quick test. And then in the browser here, you can see my host, my protocol, my host, the path, and then the query here. And of course, I'm returning that data all independently, and then I'm using the in the actual response, the URL, I'm using the URI instead of path and query. If I were to put path and query in here, I'd need to put that question mark in between path and query for that complete URL to show up as expected. So hopefully this clears the air on what a URL is and what the URI is in terms of building your iRules. Thanks a lot.